one of my friends introduced me to this game. Um, I'm a huge fan of the Dark Souls series, and he basically made this as a sales pitch in the sense that it's a 2D Dark Souls, and well, it's a 2D Dark Souls. What else can I say about it? But I really wanted to review this because I was blown away with how great this game is. Watching trailers of it, I thought it was going to be pretty simple. I was way wrong. Game actually has a lot of depth. The way you could do like skill trees and builds can totally change the way you play. Reminds me totally of Dark Souls 1 and 2 and a little bit of Demon Souls. Um, the variety of weapons, armor, everything about this game is pretty interesting. Um, One of the things, like, coming from like an outsider perspective, the one of the things that I noticed at first was the art style. I wasn't too wild about it at first, but playing the game and seeing some other environments really actually showed that the art style was a good direction for the game. So I'm going to go piece by piece of what's good about this game and what I found that's not so good about the game. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible. I'm going to try and make it about 15 minutes long. But as far as like a introduction, I think that this is a great game. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, it's an awesome game. If you want to know why it's an awesome game, then you can keep watching. So Salt and Sanctuary is an indie game. From what I've been told, it's primarily made by two people, a husband and a wife. They got some help with some music and other things like that, but for the most part, it was made by two people. Um, it took me about 13 hours to play through this first time, and 12 hours to play with a friend, and that's when we did everything. We did 100% playthrough in like 12 hours, and that's knowing where everything is. The game typically takes the average person about 20 hours, so it's about a 20-hour game. It's worth $18 right now on the PlayStation Store. I believe it's coming out on Steam at some point. It's probably also going to be $20 there as well. So basically, you get like $1 an hour for your playtime. So it's worth it. The game, it runs very similar to Dark Souls, except since it's 2D, it involves platforming. You go area to area, you fight bosses, you collect, instead of souls, you can collect salt. And the salt helps you level, helps you buy better gear. And since it has the 2D elements, it has a lot of hidden areas that you have to jump to, which is really cool. If I was to actually give it a proper way of describing it, imagine like a Mega Man X style thing going on, like how that 2D platforming was with the dashing and the wall jumps and everything like that, mixed with Dark Souls where you get combat rolls and stuff. So it's an interesting mix. It's like my two favorite genres of games kind of combining a little bit, because I loved Mega Man X, and I feel like there hasn't really been anything that kind of hit that chord with me in a long time, and this game definitely did that. So graphically, I would give this game pretty decent rating. The features. Unfortunately, there's no online play. I'm kind of disappointed with that. That's actually going to affect my overall number grade, but not too much. You can do local multiplayer, which is pretty nice with the share play feature. The person that joins the share play feature actually will have a delay, so that's a little unfortunate, especially with precision platforming. But they do have some little things in the game that helps make that a little more bearable. So there is multiplayer, just local. There are items that let you do PvP, so you can attack each other, and that's fun. I think if they at some point try and get online working, I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's one thing you could do on here. Another cool thing is there's covenants, very similar to Dark Souls. You pledge allegiance to take oath to whatever one you want. You get certain items from them, and you could also increase your devotion to them as well. I think there's 9 covenants, and each one's pretty different. For the most part, they're all basically reskins, but you do get like a little different ending depending on which one you're in, so that's kind of cool. There are really, the endings as far as the covenants just changes like the poem you have. So if that's something you're into, I guess you could play it 9 times. But for the most part, there's 2 endings. I'm not going to spoil them. One's a secret ending, which you have to do a certain type of task to get, and the other one is just your basic ending. So if you didn't meet that criteria, you get the standard ending. So as far as gameplay goes, the gameplay is very tight, very responsive. It really does help with precision platforming. You definitely can do some crazy stuff, and it feels really satisfying to do. Sometimes there are input delays. For some reason, like your button inputs won't recognize, and I find that to be kind of weird. It does kind of affect the experience sometimes, because if you're having a lot of salt in your inventory, like let's say you just killed a boss and you missed a jump because of the controls, it kind of sucks. You can go back and get your salt, very similar to Dark Souls, but I hate that that could be a possibility. Sometimes I would like ring my bell or do a horn to get back to where I was, just because I don't want the game to mess up randomly on me at that one point. So, enemy variety. The enemy variety was actually really good. It does remind me a lot of Dark Souls. Different areas have different enemies. I even played the game after 20 hours and still saw new enemies that I didn't see in my first playthrough. So enemy variety is good. I wouldn't say there's really like particular tactics you need to take with different enemies. Very similar to Dark Souls. You just kind of have to avoid getting hit and then hit them. So basically very Dark Souls-esque with that. The bosses are great. I'm not going to spoil any boss design, but each one was completely different from the other. And they're very unique, and that was a lot of fun. I would say there's more of a strategy for fighting them. You have to go at it a different way. You have to learn their attack patterns. And for the most part, all the fights were pretty fair. I mean, if you didn't know how to dodge an attack, you got pretty much destroyed. There were some problems with the boss fights, though. Because it's on a 2D plane, depending on where you're positioned in the map, they sometimes go off screen and you can't hit them or roll past them. So you would just pretty much eat the attack. The final boss does a grab move, and quite a number of times, the grab move would actually put me into the wall, and I would get stuck, and I can't do anything about it. I pretty much just die. So that's a problem. So there are some problems with the game. It's not perfect, it's not flawless, but as far as the execution and the ideas behind the game, I am all for. I had a great time with the game. I couldn't put it down, and I just really think that a game like this definitely deserves more attention than it got. I understand that's an indie game, and expecting, I guess, attention to a game like that is kind of, you know, hard to expect because they don't have the marketing. But I kind of appreciate that they didn't put their money into the marketing, and they put more of their budget into making the game a better experience. I kind of feel like games today put so much money into marketing and so much money into hyping up a game that they forget to make the game, Division. But yeah, overall, this game is awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. As far as an overall score, I would say graphics-wise, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it like an 8.9. The graphics were nice. The animations are nice. Wouldn't be the best. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best, but an 8.9 is a pretty fair, considering that who it was working with. Gameplay, I would give like a 9 out of 10. Certain input delays lowered the score. It would have been a 10 because I think the gameplay is fine. I wouldn't really change much about it. Enemy variety, bosses, that would be like a 9. So my final overall score, I don't really ask how I did the math on it, but I'm going to give it an 8.7. Things that are lowering it is the lack of online features, the control problem, and that's really it. I mean, the game has a good length to it. For a $20 game, it has a very good length. There's so many secrets, there's so many collectibles, there's so many things that you could do to make your character better. New Game Plus, let me just throw this in. When you beat the game, you do get New Game Plus. It goes up to New Game Plus 7. You do not get to really choose to not go New Game Plus. Like basically once you beat the final boss and you progress, you're going to New Game Plus. So if you don't want to do New Game Plus, don't progress after fighting the final boss. So New Game Plus actually does bring challenge. Like compared to Dark Souls where it's just more health and more damage, it seems that this game goes a little more hardcore with that. Being level 90 something, New Game Plus was actually a pretty good challenge. Definitely felt like I was starting the game fresh all over again. So the difficulty spike in New Game Plus is definitely there. I can't even imagine what New Game Plus 7 would be. So overall, this game is an 8.7. They did a great job with pretty much everything, and I really just recommend checking it out. $18 is probably too little to pay for this game, and I usually always deduct prices on games. Like, I'm like, this game's probably worth like $40. You know, I'm talking about AAA games. But this game, I really feel like they're underselling it. But you know what, though? If they want to sell it at $18, if that gets people to buy it, I really don't think anyone would be disappointed with this game. If you're having a problem with the challenge, you can always get a friend to help. That makes it a little bit easier. I mean, awesome game. Totally recommend it. And, well, thanks for watching the video. I hope you check out this game. I hope you, too, enjoy it. If you enjoy it, let me know what your experience is on the game or what you made a build of. My first playthrough, the one that you see in this video, was kind of more of like just like a standard warrior, heavy armor, strength build. But my second playthrough, I did like a battle mage, and that was really fun. I really recommend the battle mage path. Transmutation of weapons, you know, getting the boss souls and making your own weapons, that's really cool, and it works well with the battle mage. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the game. I love it, and see you later.